Well, Principal Thomas is gonna try to join us. She said she'd be late.
Okay.
Got a couple things going on at the school. They're having a prayer session at 4, and then she's gonna meet with parents about the busing after that. And so she's gonna try to jump on after she's done with that. Actually, I think they're wrapping up right now.
Okay.
I'll be eager to hear her busing comments.
Yeah. So, John, do we want to go ahead and get started? Because we got a packed agenda.
Yes, well, go ahead. You are
Okay.
the chair here. I'm
Well,
just
I don't
trying to keep the Zoom going. Joe Baldino, hey.
Well, I don't know if we'll get to everything because there's a lot and a lot of things going on right now. So we'll just go as quickly as we can. But anyway, I think we do need to have introductions. I'll start. I'm Phyllis Moss, and I'm a parent in the RCSD. I live on Englewood Drive in the 19th Ward.
I'm John Jay, and I'm a member of this group, and also I chair the Southwest Common Council Education Committee. Jay?
Jay, you want to go ahead? Oh,
I'm Jay Ross, grandparent of kids who went through the city schools and volunteer at 16 back in the day when we could do that.
Dan Ross, Jay's husband and parent of several kids who graduated from City School District and a longtime resident of the 19th Ward and concerned school consumer or advocate or whatever.
I'm Doug Gable. My wife Charlotte's usually here, but she's singing in a choir tonight, so I'm going to have to take minutes. And we did have our oldest graduate from school 19 from from Wilson High School here in the 19th Ward.
I'm Lee Loomis. I'm the leader of a tutoring team sponsored by the Rochester Engineering Society. We tutor at Dr. Walter Cooper Academy, number 10 school. And I'm descended from people who went to school in the 19th Ward.
You go way back.
I'm Joe Baldino, Principal School 29. I also taught at Wilson Mangy for 19 years, so I've been in the 19th Ward a fair amount of time in my career. Next year. Now, is this the committee that replaces the one the late John Lang ran?
Right.
Yes.
And I'm trying to follow him because there's one that John Boutte does, and then there's this one. But this is the one that John Lang used to run, right?
Right.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just making sure I know where I am. Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Phyllis is the new chair for that committee, so we're in good hands now. We're back in good hands.
All right, sounds good.
I feel like that too. I'm trying to figure out how all the pieces fit together. So I just figured that out too, that I replaced John.
I'll have to post the video from the last meeting that John conducted. It was also the first meeting that Phyllis attended. So it was kind of interesting reviewing that video and seeing the ships passing in the night. Took us a couple of months to convince Phyllis, of course. But pardon me, I'm not. For some reason, I can't get on live here, so that's the only reason that you don't see me, other than in the picture.
I think Melody is on.
Yeah, Melody is on.
I am on. I'm in transition though. You'll be able to see me on camera in a few minutes.
Oh, okay, very good.
All right. So I'm sure everyone knows about the busing situation with RCSD. I've been watching the board meetings. They've been occurring almost daily since Friday. And where we are right now, they have discontinued the walker buses, which affects School 10. And I guess there were exceptions for students that lived a mile and a half from the school. There were exceptions because of safety issues and whatnot. So they've discontinued that. There are several high schools that transportation is not covered. But the only, and so RTS, it looks like it's going to pick those up. Right now, school has been moved up a day, the first day of school. So instead of starting tomorrow, they're starting on Thursday. If children don't have transportation, they will be remote, or they're welcome to come if they can get their own ride. That's where we are right now. So the only school in the 19th ward that's affected is number 10, because there were several, I forget how many students, but it was quite I want to say about 90 students. But when Principal Thomas comes on, she'll be able to tell you exactly. But a lot of students at School 10 were affected because they discontinued their buses. So what she's trying to do in the meeting that she's having right now is to start a walking bus program. And she said that she did that at number 19. And what they did was they had people, even if they could just sit on their porches and drink a cup of coffee, that will watch the kids as they walked to school. So she's trying to recruit parents or anybody that's willing to participate in that. So that's where we are with that.
Now, did they discontinue picking kids up that are within the mile and a half?
Yes.
They used to, if there was room on a bus coming in from over a mile and a half away, they sometimes managed to cheat by picking up the kids within the mile and a half radius, as long as there was room on the bus. But they're not doing that this year?
No.
Well, I think that's a different issue, John. There were 3 schools that had an exception to the mile and a half rule.
Mm-hmm.
It was 10 and the 2 schools with bilingual programs.
Okay.
And I think those all were routinely providing transportation at less than a mile and a half, and they're not able to anymore. But I had a second question, which is, did not Wilson and Wilson Foundation Academy also lose transportation services?
I'm not sure.
I don't think they were one of the, there were 4 high schools. It was Northeast, Northwest, Edison, and I forget the 4th one, but I don't think it was Wilson.
Okay.
But most severely impacted in this area was School 10.
Yes.
So Principal Thomas will come on, and I'm sure her reason for coming on is to ask for help. I don't know how we can help her, other than trying to find volunteers to participate in that. So anyway, we can wait until she gets on and she can talk more about that. I can quickly do the schools report, and I don't know if Lee wants to add, but I did contact all of the principals. I was able to talk to Ms. Silas Lee. We had a great conversation, and also to Principal Thomas. And I'll start with Principal Thomas. What she said that she needs most critically is she's looking for retired reading teachers to help with the get children back up to where they're supposed to be in terms of reading. I did tell her about your program, Lee, how wonderful it is, and I suggested that maybe the 3 of us could get together and meet. I started a new job today, so even if just the 2 of you could get together. But she had already heard about your program, but I could not explain it to her as well as you explained it to me, because I thought it was awesome. but I think you could do a better job getting that over to her than I could. So, of course, this week is out, but she suggested next week or the following week that you could get together.
Yeah, I've deliberately been staying away from there and not calling anybody because I was sure you were going to cover it anyway for this committee. But I've been there when they were going through the first week of school and preparations for the first week of school. And the last thing they want to see is a well-meaning engineer who has a tutoring team, because it's going to be October before the teachers are able to identify the children who do need extra attention. And from experience, I'm well aware of that. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. I don't want to be a nuisance right now because I know they're busy. But yeah, I think they're going to need your program really badly. She's looking for
There she is.
retired reading teachers. I don't know how many retired reading teachers we'll be able to find, but she did say that she would consider other volunteers too, but her preference is retired reading teachers. So so that, and then the busing issue. Those are going to be the two biggest things with School 10. School number 19, Principal Silas Lee, they had a collaborative teaching model, and for each grade. There's a teacher, I forget there's like 3 people that participate in that model. And there's a teacher, I forget the second person that's on that team, but the third person that's supposed to be on that team is a volunteer. And that they've not been able to fill those positions to make up the collaborative teaching team for each grade. So ideally, we would be able to help them find volunteers to complete that model, and that would be 9 volunteers for number 19. That was what they need. And the other thing is, she said coming back from COVID and all the violence going on in the city, that the social emotional piece was going to be really critical. And something that someone said to me that I thought was interesting. This is in another city. She said that what they did was they just invited retired teachers just to come and sit in a library or something like that. So if a kid needed to talk, they could just come and go and talk with that teacher. And that's all that teacher did. They were a volunteer that was just available to talk to kids that might be having a hard day and need somebody to talk to. So I think we're on the right track in terms of volunteers. It's just finding people that are willing. Number 16, I have not heard anything from 16. I have not heard anything from 29. I know the principal of 29 was on vacation and then came back to all this busing business. And 16 referred me to her site coordinator, and I have not heard from him yet. But I will keep trying. But I will give them a few weeks to get through this crisis. So that's where we are. Lee, did you want to add anything else? Or is there anybody that needed to add anything in terms of school reports?
Oh, yeah, Principal School 29, I'll probably give you some feedback. But I do want to say there's really a prohibition against visitors in buildings. So I don't know exactly how we're going to get tutors in there. So it's a pretty strict prohibition. So you could do it remotely, which is not the most productive. I'm not sure maybe what he even had in mind. Really limiting us to no visitors. So I'm not quite sure how that goes. Sorry to buzzkill you guys. As far as my road report, we have 16 children who don't have transportation at the start of the school year. One of them, the mother can bring them. The other 15, we're going to have to do remote learning. So there's going to be simultaneous learning going on in school, maybe also in 19 and 10, because the children don't have their buses set up yet. So that's the only thing that I really have to report as far as School 29. Okay?
Mr. Baldino, so you are the principal for school number 29.
Correct, yes.
And you're the one that was on vacation.
When?
I thought you were on vacation a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, I was, definitely, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got back on the 23rd, yes.
Okay.
That was me.
All right. Okay.
Sorry, I missed the last one, but that's where I was, yeah.
Okay. I thought they mentioned that 29 was that you were going to be affected by the busing. So you have 16 students that won't have transportation?
Oh, well, yeah, temporarily they said they're still trying to route every kid. So they're working at, there's a bunch of students on a list who don't have it yet. That's what they told us. So I have 16 of them, and one of the parents can bring their child. The other 15 can't. Or we haven't gotten in touch with them. So they have a Chromebook. So the teachers last year were doing what's called simultaneous learning. They had in-person students and they had students remote. So for those children, until their buses get set, they're going to have simultaneous learning. And I'm hope's not a plan, but I'm wishing or hoping that they will solve it relatively quickly.
Okay. All right. It would be nice if you and I could talk offline.
Myself? Yes.
Yes, because I did send you an email about just talking with you about School 29.
Okay.
But maybe we can do that, or if you would prefer that I talk to your site coordinator, I can do that too.
Well, no, we can talk. My number, I'll give you my number right now if you want to call.
Okay. All right. All right, go ahead.
328-8228, then put in extension 1002. You don't have to go to the switchboard. When it comes up, you know your party's extension, you just put my extension in. I check my messages regularly, and if I'm not in the office, I will call you back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I love to connect with you. That's a great idea.
All right, thank you. And I want to go back to what you said. You said that that we might have a problem with getting volunteers into the schools.
Well, our visitation policy is we don't have any visitors because they're trying to limit contacts. So,
Because of COVID.
Yes. So if you have a tutor coming in as a visitor, and that can throw off the system as far as not having visitors. So I don't think it's impossible to do it via Zoom, because I think the child can still get lots of feedback from interacting with an adult, So I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but right now there's not a chance to get people in the building as far as tutoring. Okay.
I think that, Lee, isn't that how you're doing tutoring now, is via Zoom? I think that's what they're doing now.
Yeah, all we were able to do was 3 tutors working with, I think 3 or 4 children, first graders, and it was exclusively no contact. And the visitor policy, as Mr. Baldino suggested, is really going to prevent, unless somebody actually changes it. They won't even let parents come in to the school, or wouldn't last spring. So we were confined to just doing it virtually. But fortunately, in this particular case, we were working with first graders.
Yeah.
It's the only kind of school they have ever experienced was virtual. So it's not like they were missing something. They were only hearing about something they were missing. But it worked okay.
Good.
But I don't really think it's a preferred way to do it. But if that's all we've got, then we're going to have to see who wants to try it again.
There's value. There's value to it. I wouldn't discount the value. Yes.
Could I ask Joe a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Joe, as I understand it, if you've got kids who don't have transportation, but the goal is to provide transportation for all the elementary school kids who are qualified, right? So this is it's not that the expectation is that the district will be able to transport those kids?
Yes, it's like they just haven't gotten to them yet. It's not just School 29. It's a pretty significant list.
Right. But it's for the upper grades that they're saying they may not be able to provide transportation at all.
Right, but now money talks, blankety blank walks. So the district has a fairly fill in the blank. It's a fairly sizable pot of money now. That,
Yeah.
It's because we did save a lot of money on transportation. So that money is still there. We got foundation. I think they're about to negotiate a contract with RTS, and that'll change the whole plane. Because when I was at Edison, we always used RTS, and then they stopped using RTS. Now they're going back to it. That'll free up a whole bunch of buses. So I think when that contract gets settled, these kids I have and other schools have, they can start scheduling their routes. It's only, Dan, it's only a temporary issue. And I think with the RTS contract, when it gets signed, the temporary will go away and the children will get a bus. Yes.
Thank you.
Do you think that would free up enough buses that they will be able to go back and provide transportation to the kids that they're making walk now?
I would think so. If you have a walker bus situation, yes. And I mean, for us, I'm hopeful. Because when I was at Edison, we had a significant number of RTS buses. It was 30 of them. So I think that, you know, if you have 30 RTS buses taking over for 30 yellow buses, well, that's a lot of kids you can move. So I believe that, because these are agreements, right? These walking buses, they're certainly an agreement. It's only stopgap. I can't speak for the district, but I would imagine they go back to all the original arrangements. Okay, that'd be my best guess. But I'm not that pay grade. I'm just kind of a regular guy like the rest of you guys. I'm not making the big decisions, but my educated guess would be it.
Okay, so it would be nice if that walking bus situation went away. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, did you?
I think I said it wrong, Phil. There's walker buses for kids within 1.5 miles. And there's the walking school bus, which Eve is talking about, which is a great idea, where people help the kids get to school. I think I used the wrong term now.
Did you see that email I sent you, Phyllis, that included a link to some of the discussions we've had before on walking school buses?
Yes, and actually, I was thinking that would be a good thing to send out with the minutes.
Yeah,
so everyone could see it.
Because we've gone there many times over the past several years, and that one I was goes back to September 4th, 2013, and we had Eric Steffens come and talk to us. He and Elizabeth Murphy, but I don't know if she's still at that group. Used to be Finger Lakes Health Systems Agency, but now it's Common Ground Health. So anyways, they came over and talked to us about that, and we were involved with, he and I went around looking for routes for walking school buses over at School 19, and then a year or two later they were checking out routes that might be used over at School 10, and of course this means trying to find out where some of the kids are, and is there a route we can take that gives us more than 3 kids that follow the person that's walking them to school, and that's where the more kids are going to the school within 1.5 miles and hopefully within half a mile, it makes it that much easier if you've got 100 kids in a mile or half a mile of the school to be able to have enough student density to walk a productive route to school, to be able to do a walking school bus. And they've also done bicycling school buses, not here, but in some other areas. We may not be the best place to do that, but yeah, I was shocked as I went back and looked at because there are several videos referred to in there, and some of the ones that I shot at the meetings, I'm looking and I said, my God, the quality I was shooting back then really sucked. We're kind of spoiled with Zoom now and a lot of sharp pictures. But so anyways, take a look at that, and I just put the link to that, the meeting notes from that meeting in the chat.
Well, just think about how we tabled the local busing issue, and now it's a crisis. But I still think it's a long-term issue.
Oh yeah.
But there some short-term pieces of it as well. Yeah. I actually sent a message to the superintendent, and my suggestion to her was that they allow all of the children who are 12 and under who can't be vaccinated to remote learn, and then provide transportation to all of the upper grades. But I'm sure there's some money issues that related to that. That's probably why that didn't fly. So I think at this point, the only thing we can do is help Eva as best we can, and just continue to monitor the situation. But I do thank you for sending that, even though the quality was not as good as it is now. I still think it will be worth watching for everyone. So if we could attach that to the minutes, that would be great. And we'll just have to see how we can help Eva. And Joe, it sounds like your situation is going to kind of resolve itself. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that I think the RTS thing is going to be the key to the whole thing.
Okay.
You know, like I said, money opens the doors, and there's money out there to do it, and it sounds like they're going to get there. So
yeah, and hopefully Eva's situation will get resolved too. Maybe it'll only be a couple of weeks, and maybe their transportation will be given back. We'll just have to wait and see.
They're all related, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I have another question. How did you find out who was had transportation, who didn't? Did the bus department, did the depot give you a list?
It wasn't. They talked about it at the board. They had a board meeting on Friday, and then they had another one on Sunday, which lasted 3 hours.
Right. I watched those, but Joe mentioned that he had identified who in his school did not have a bus. So I was just curious what process he used to identify that.
Well, we had an Excel. They gave us an Excel spreadsheet, and
okay,
it was in numerical order.
Okay.
So I just scrolled down and saw the 16th, 29 kids on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. No problem.
Okay. So last time we talked about possibly getting someone from AmeriCorps to coordinate volunteers. And I can't remember who was going to check that out.
Oh, Eva's coming on.
Okay.
I volunteered.
There she is.
Oh yes, it was.
I volunteered to inquire at the education department at Roberts to see if there were any faculty there that would be willing to help out. And the message got sent through, but I haven't had any responses. I talked with the one person that I knew. I've retired more than 5 years ago, so the faculty changes, and I don't know the people as intimately as when I was fully employed out there. But I did know the departmental coordinator, and so she passed that information on. But initially, she said that it wouldn't qualify for student teaching because of whatever reasons. But she did pass the information on to see if there were any faculty that wanted to put the opportunity in front of their students to volunteer. But that's I haven't heard back, and I know that classes have been in session for at least a week. It's a pretty hectic time in a college level too. But I wouldn't hold my breath on getting too much of a response there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I wanted to go back to what Joe said about this with the whole COVID thing, getting volunteers to come into the schools, how that might be an issue, which might be why Zoom and the way that Lee is doing things might be a better way to go. And with the kids going back to in-person learning and not being online as much, I think for me anyway, the Zoom won't be so concerning. So that might be the way to go in terms of volunteers, and maybe we can get more. Principal Thomas. Hi.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for my lateness. It's been quite a day.
We've been waiting for you to come on, and we were trying to figure out how we can help you in terms of volunteers and the walking bus. We were talking a little bit about the walking school bus.
Yes.
And how we can support you, which is the most critical thing right now.
Yes. Well, I do have a presentation to share with you. I did set up a meeting to meet with parents, but we did not have anyone that showed up, which is strange. And so tomorrow we will be calling all of the parents by phone to check and see what their needs are. This morning when I walked in, we only had 5 parents who had a concern. Other than that, no other parents have come to the school or called. And so we have 91 walkers, excluding our special needs students in this area. And so that's concerning to me because I definitely want to know what is the plan for each family. So we're going to reach out tomorrow to make some calls. But I'd like to share with you just a small presentation as to where Dr. Walter Cooper Academy School number 10 is currently. He will give me, if it's time.
The 90 walkers you say you have, Eva, is that within what distance of the school are they? Are they
1.5. Okay. So they're either across the street or they're, 1.5 miles away. These are all the individuals who live the closest to the school.
Okay.
Could I get a clarification? In the past, those kids and kids at 2 other elementary schools were bused even though they're within the 1.5, and now those kids are losing the busing? Is that correct?
Yes, because of, safety reasons. You have little ones who are 5 and 6 years old. They should not really be walking 1.5 miles to get to school. And then you have inclement weather. And so they made it a point, because we are a citywide school, that everyone would get bused unless they requested otherwise.
No, I understand that, but there's a lot of confusion between the language of walker buses and the idea of walking buses, which is groups of kids walking together with an adult guiding them. So I just want to make sure we're talking about kids within 1.5 miles being bused because of the nature of their program.
Correct.
Can you turn your volume down a bit, Dan, because you're coming across very loud.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a special hello to everybody, Mr. Joe Baldino and Melody, my colleagues. How are you? All right. Well, I will share what I have.
You should think you can share.
Okay. Let me see. We'll start here. So just our current state as of today. So as of September 7th, all walking buses were reallocated. 91 students are considered walkers, and we will need to now walk or be transported by personal vehicle to school. So the actions I have taken is I had created a proposal that our students get bikes and bike racks. Parents get stipends, and so they have gotten back to me, and we are receiving 50 brand new bikes from Nurse Bowick from the Conkey Cruisers, and we will also get some training from Karen Rogers, who owns a health and wellness program in the inner city and works with Monroe County. I have also collaborated with Common Ground Health, who will be partnering with me to get a walking school bus plan together. They came out today and spoke with my staff. I actually have a staff of 12 teachers, staff members who met with me today from 1:30 to 3:30 to talk about how we can roll this out. And so the request you see on the slide here, the district advocated through Kelly Briggs, and we were able to get those items for our parents and for our students. So on the first day of school, this is an event that I do every year called the Men in Red Day. So I encourage men of color to come and all color backgrounds, nationalities to come and cheer our students on as they get off the bus. And so from 9 to 9:30, you are all welcome to come and celebrate with us as we open our school doors on this Thursday. And the mayor will be coming to my school. The superintendent will be coming to my school. And we have two fathers that will be interviewed by the media for our Men in Red Day. So it'll be a very busy time for my school community. This is actually a tradition. I've been doing this as an administrator for the past 10 years when I open my school doors, having Men in Red Day. So this is something I have done for many, many years. And it has always been a wonderful time for the kids to celebrate them coming back to school. It'll be extra special because they really, many of them have not even seen the brand new building here at School Town. Okay. So receivership. So wanted to share with you our 13 indicators that we must show progress on this year. Our level 1 indicators are chronic absenteeism, school safety, English language proficiency, English language arts performance and growth, mathematics performance and growth, science performance. And our level 2 indicators are community schools, family and community engagement, English language arts performance for economically disadvantaged, mathematics performance for economically disadvantaged, and mathematics performance for African Americans. So school safety, we can have no more than one serious incident, which means that if there are serious incidents which cause threat or danger, and then we have to report them, that takes our school safety index down, okay, and takes our score down as a school. So it will be very important to make sure we have social emotional supports in place and that we are very observant of our kids as they enter the building this year to meet any needs dealing with trauma, mental health, and things of that nature, to make sure that we don't have any serious threat to our building, to other students, or to staff. Chronic absenteeism. We are very concerned about this level 1. A student who misses 10% or more of the school year is considered chronically absent. And because they have taken away the transportation from our walkers, we are very, very concerned about this. Not sure why they chose to take it away from a receivership school, but they did. And so we have to figure out how to regroup and still reach out and get students to school on time, because if students are not here, students are not learning, and we can't meet our other indicators for receivership school. English language proficiency. So we have to work on ensuring that our English language learners are reading and writing proficiently and making sure that they pass the exam this year for the nicest lot. Our performance index. So what they do is they take these numbers here, number of students for each level. Level 1 is not good. A level 4 is good. So you could take these numbers and plop them in. And this is based on the total number of students who took the exams. It's their performance indicator. Okay. I will share this slide with Dr. Moss so you can take a better look, but I don't want to take up a lot of your time tonight. I know you're on a tight schedule. So as you can see, the ELA indicators, okay, students who score a 1, ELA, all students core subject performance indicator. Okay, a level 1, all students mean growth percentile, which is MPG. And then a level 2 for ELA, core subject performance indicators. To meet the target for Dr. Walter Cooper Academy, we have to score 59% and 46%. Okay, the same here for math. Greater than or equal to 51.7 and 48.6. Science indicator. Okay, that exam actually is the same every year. And so our students actually do very well on it. But we have to ensure that the majority of our students pass that science exam when we take it this year. Fourth graders are the only ones who take the science exam in our building. Community schools. So, in speaking with Michelle White, we want to ensure that we are reaching out to you all, the 19th Ward, and all of our partners so that we can provide families and students with health and wellness resources and expanded learning opportunities. And then the last one, which I was very surprised at because the school does a great job with reaching out to families, but at a level 2, this is another indicator that we need to work on, and that is making sure that we reach out to families and support them in Tenet 6. So Tenet 6 is family and community engagement. And that is it for this evening. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Eva.
You're welcome.
So, Principal Thomas, in talking to you, what I got from you was that how this committee could support you was you need reading tutors, and you're looking for retired reading tutors.
Reading teachers, certified retired reading teachers. Yes.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And then now with the I want to use the right terminology because I don't want to confuse anybody. The walking school bus.
Yes, ma'am.
Program.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how. I don't know if there's a way that we can support you in that. I'm working from 9 to 2, so I don't think I'm going to be helpful to you with that.
It would be helpful because they have to go home from 4 to 5.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Maybe some days I could help on the tail end. But anyway, in your own words, can you just tell the committee how we could support you? And I know I know your preference is to have retired reading teachers, but we already have Lee running a phenomenal program at your school. And I did say earlier, I did tell him earlier that you did want to meet with him.
Yes.
I'm available.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Lee. How are you? Great. So yes, we would like certified retired reading teachers, but we are open to anyone who is willing to sit with our students and have them read to you, you read to them, do some echo reading where you will read and they will repeat what you read, or do some choral reading where you read together and you follow along together, some different reading strategies, some phonics and fluency games, where they're doing letter recognition and things of that nature. We have students with gaps in achievement due to COVID. And so our goal is to close the gap. We're using a resource called MyView, which is already scripted information with consumable resources for our kids. But I believe in children holding books in their hands and reading daily as much as they can, because they're taking in vocabulary, they're learning phonics and fluency while they're doing it, but they're also learning how to comprehend information as they're reading it. And so, yes, we definitely need reading certified teachers, but all are welcome as long as you're fully vaccinated and you go through our volunteer coordinator, Ricky Frazier, to come in and support our school community. Mr. Lee, I'm very interested in meeting with you because we also have a maker space room, and I'm very interested in having our students learn STEM concepts and STEM vocabulary, especially 4th grade, because they have to take the 4th grade science assessment every year in the spring in May. And so it will be critical for them to be able to measure liquids, fluids, be able to weigh different items. That is all a part of the fourth grade science assessment, along with being able to read and articulate what they see, and what they measure, and the little experiments and things that they do. They also have to do the what is it, with the light and the battery? They have to do that and be able to explain how it works and draw it and talk about voltage and power and all of that. There's a lot of vocabulary involved in that at fourth grade. And so whatever resources you could provide, Mr. Lee, we probably would definitely appreciate that, as well as the 19th ward.
Rather than take up time in this meeting, because I've probably got an hour's worth of questions and answers with you,
Yes.
Why don't we schedule something at a fairly early convenience for you? I write an article that's published in the Engineering Society's magazine every month about the tutoring team at Dr. Walter Cooper Academy.
Okay.
And my deadline is for the October issue of the magazine would be September 10th.
Okay.
And if I could get some answers to some questions by speaking in person with you prior to that, that would be good, because then I can include in my article that goes out in the magazine the first day of October, typically, a list of criteria to kind of guide my tutors and their friends into telling me they want to volunteer for A, for B, for C. And then also, I represent the RES tutoring team from the Engineering Society. We also have another individual at the Engineering Society who leads the whole STEM initiative, and he has a cadre of retired science teachers that he calls upon to do science, technology, engineering, and mathematics focused programming in mostly middle schools is where they seem to be wanting it. But if you want it at Cooper, then I'm sure that we can make arrangements to make use of that really excellent brand new makerspace that's up on the second floor in the front there.
That would
We
be
look
wonderful.
forward to an opportunity to begin to use that facility on behalf of our Cooper scholars. So if you could get back to me with a couple of days and times in the near future, next 4 or 5 days, this week or maybe Monday, I think I can hold my magazine deadline off until Monday or Tuesday. But I could put what I need to put in my article and start to get some responses back in early October.
Sounds great. I also just met with the U of R for the Rochester Young Science Program. And Ricky Fraser's also connected Dr. Walter Cooper Academy with that program. So we will be recruiting 20 students in 5th and 6th grade to do that program, in hopes that the 6th graders will move on to their STEP program once they leave us in the summer. So trying to renew that program that used to exist here as well. And Mr. Lee, that would be great. That is my goal, to get that maker space room active, because it is not being used, and we know they've just actually returned back to the building. So I thought maybe we could call it Dr. Walter Cooper Day and have some science projects and things going on in there. Maybe Dr. Cooper could Zoom in or pop in and hang out with the kids while they're working on some science projects. I think he would love that.
Earlier in this meeting, before you were able to join us, Joe Baldino made us aware that there still is a very serious, strict visitor protocol prohibition in the schools.
There is, but if you go through Ricky Fraser, you can get in that way. That's the only way you can get in. Is if you come in as a volunteer. If you do not, you cannot come in.
Okay, so Ricky is the Pope that's going to get us dispensation then?
Yep. Ricky is the one. The person has to be fully vaccinated. You have to do they do the background check. You have to go through training with Ricky Frazier, and then you get the approval. But we're waiting on him because they have realigned the guidelines due to COVID restrictions. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. So he had to rewrite some of his orientation protocols. So
Okay.
just waiting for final approval, but that is what I have been told by Ricky Frazier.
Okay, what I'd like to do is give you my contact information,
Sure.
and then when it's convenient for you to tell me when and where I could come and meet with you, maybe even tomorrow or Friday morning,
Okay.
we could make that happen. My email is leeloomis46@gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
All right, and my smartphone is 585-738-3079. And
Okay.
you can call me or text me at that number.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Loomis. I will contact you probably tonight. I'll look at my calendar and see if we can get you in tomorrow because it will be busy the rest of this week. So
I'm
get you
sure.
in tomorrow.
I mean,
Yeah.
even in normal times, this is a crazy time to
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
try and pin anybody down at number 10 school. But
Yeah.
I'm available until early afternoon on Friday. Then I could be available again on Monday and all the rest of next week.
Okay. I'm going to try to get you in tomorrow if I can to look at my calendar. Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
And I
Appreciate-
have
Appreciate
two-
everybody's patience while we did this little committee work here. So thank you.
Yes.
Well,
Yes,
it's
thank
important
you.
because I think that's probably the best way to find volunteers is through your program.
Mhm.
We're hoping so. Yeah.
And I'm wondering if is it something that you could duplicate at number 19 to help Miss Silas Lee, if she was interested?
You're asking me or
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
No, I'm asking you.
I'm willing to work with anybody that Mrs. Thomas steers me to.
Yeah, you got to work with 19. That was my home now. And 29. That was my family. That's my family.
So Lee, I'm the site coordinator at 19.
Oh, okay.
So let me check with Monique, and I have your contact information, and I will get back to you definitely.
Okay, it's a long story, so let me tell it early in the morning about how our tutoring team got started 5 or 6 years ago at Dr. Walter Cooper Academy. There was a lot of 2 steps forward and 1 step back things over the years, but I think we know where the rocks in the stream are now. So maybe not everybody has to get wet.
And just keep in mind that she specifically asked for volunteers that will be a part of their collaborative teaching model.
Yes.
So it may not fit. So, but anyway, it's a
Sure.
start. I wanted to go back to what Joe said earlier about the RTS thing, possibly creating more transportation for elementary students. And I'm wondering if we were wondering before you came on, Principal Thomas, if that would eventually solve your problem in terms of the 91 walkers. And maybe this would be a short-term problem. Do you
The
have any
thing is,
idea?
our babies don't use RTS. They use yellow buses.
Right.
Unless they decide to do something special for them where they could use RTS buses.
No, the point was that once they put together this deal with RTS, that would free up some yellow buses and that maybe your 91 babies would get their transportation back. Is that a possibility or do you know?
Well, maybe and maybe not. Because I really think that eventually they are looking to do neighborhood schools. And Dr. Jallo is stressing that you are 1.5 miles away from the school. You should not be getting a bus. And so they're looking at how to save monies, but also looking at the way things used to be a long time ago when I used to have to walk to school. So with a buddy, a couple buddies. And so don't know. Not sure. Not sure.
Now, is the delay, do you know, Eva, is it because the folks that do the routing at central office haven't gotten everything done yet, or is it because they've reduced the number of kids they can put on a bus because of COVID, and therefore they're keeping the, they have to have more buses running?
So every day that goes by, you have bus drivers who are resigning because of COVID. And I believe a few more resigned today. So that is the number one issue. When you set the route, you got the bus drivers, then they come in and resign. That's not good. So then, like I think it was Mr. Lee said, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back type of thing. So we never know from day to day who's resigning, how they have to reroute, how they have to rechange things. People are coming and resigning daily. That's a problem that's out of our control. And the students are, placed strategically so that it's safe for everyone on the buses, the number of students, but the issue becomes, more and more drivers are not wanting to drive because the Delta variant is increasing and they're watching things happening all over, and it's causing fear and anxiety among many workers. Now, there's even a problem with staffing. So, you have schools that are not fully staffed and you have to get substitutes. The pandemic is really, causing a lot of damage in regards to, staff and manpower for schools as well as school buses. So it's a lot to take in.
Mrs. Thomas, I need to make sure you understand, and for that matter, the other principals like at number 19 school, I have yet to ask any of my tutors if they are willing to enter a school building and meet face to face with an unvaccinated 6-year-old.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Yep. Totally agree.
And then just one quick other question. Melody, I understand you are the community site coordinator for number 19?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have one yet to replace Dr. Festenstein, Mrs. Thomas?
We do, but that person has to wait to go to board approval on September 23rd. So we have a potential candidate, but he is not official until the board says yes. They have to vote.
Okay, and then one more question, if I may impose on everybody else. There's a community volunteer coordinator, has been a person I've worked with joyously for years, Fredia Ogden. Is she still part of your staff?
She is, and she is actually titled the parent liaison.
Okay.
Parent liaison. So she is the connection between parents and the school. So anything I do with parents, she is at every meeting. They are supporting the work and making the calls and doing a lot of outreach. Yes.
Okay, because I've been copying her in on all my communications for the past 6 years on anything I'm doing with the tutoring team, because I understood we qualify as volunteers, and so she needs to know what it is we're doing, where and when.
Yes.
Is that still true, or
Yes,
is Ricky Frazier taking over that function?
Ricky trains volunteers, but he doesn't monitor them. Every school monitors their own volunteers and community partners, and that's what the site coordinator does.
Okay, very good. And then, so when you reach out to me, toss me a bunch of emails and addresses and phone numbers for people like Ricky Frazier, and for Melody, I'm sorry, I don't know your last name.
Bishop.
Bishop?
Yeah, Melody Bishop.
All right, I want to move us along because it's 8:02. some quick questions so we can finish the agenda. But before I do that, I wanted to know if anyone has any suggestions, understanding that any volunteers have to go through Ricky Frazier, as to how we could recruit volunteers. What would you suggest? Would you suggest putting something on location 19, the newsletter, email marketing?
Well, I think we can certainly put something on location 19. Probably posting something on Facebook would reach a bigger audience. There is a Delegates Council at the 19th Ward this Thursday at 7 p.m. If you want to stop by and just, introduce yourself, Phyllis, to the delegates there and say you're the new Schools Committee chair, and that we're trying to recruit people. There's usually about 20 or more people, delegates that come to that meeting, and if they can even check with other people that they know, that might be a way of trying to get some people. They have a lot of, they are very dedicated to the 19th Ward Community Association, so they may have a little bit more of an incentive than most to try to dig up some people. And I think that's kind of the thing we do have. There is a meeting at 4 o'clock for the Rochester Coalition for Public Education. They're having a meeting this Friday at 4. That may be a chance to also touch base on the walking school bus and local busing issues, see what they've heard on that. And then on let's see, it would be in September, it'll be the 22nd, we'll have the Southwest Common Council Education Committee, which again is an opportunity for us to connect on some of the busing issues and see if we've dug anything up. I'll try to get a hold of Eric Steffens from what is it now? Anyways, he's the guy who did some work with us looking for walking, trying to work out walking school buses at School 19 and also at School 10 back 2013, 2014 or so. You were still there, Eva, at 19 at that time, weren't you?
Yep, I sure was. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can I ask Melody? Melody, I think, had a suggestion as well.
Well, I was just going to say that at any one of your committee meetings, like we're having one right now, and then there's some neighborhood association meetings. I think anytime that it's put out at those types of meetings that there is a need for volunteers. I know that I attend the business association meeting for Jefferson Road as well as Plymouth Exchange. And that's also a good opportunity just to share that there's a need for volunteers, because with that also comes the process of vetting through the volunteers. What do they want to do? What are they able to do? In order to get certified, you're really looking at more of a retirement community, and maybe RTA would be the best way to reach that goal, is to reach out to the Rochester Teachers Association, because I would think that they have, connections to new or, within the last 5 years or even 6 years have retired. I do know it is our goal to line up volunteers at 19, but that we are holding, like, even we have links for kids at 19. We are not bringing them back right away. And the reason why is because our kids aren't vaccinated. And we just do not want anything to happen. Links for Kids is a group of women who are retired. They're elderly women, and they're wonderful. They're great with the kids, and they do one-on-one play with the kids, and it's a great experience. One that we don't even want to give up. But if something were to happen to someone, we would feel terrible. And so we're really closely monitoring who we do bring into the building and who we don't. At the time, we already like Center for Youth. They're already connected and vetted through the school district, so they're there. Gandhi Institute, they're already approved by the school district, so we have them. So people who are already in conjunction and approved through district, we are continuing to let them in the building. But I know that in terms of volunteers, we are working with a couple of different Alpha fraternities. We have an Alpha and a Lambda fraternity that are supporting us and looking for opportunities. So if we're looking for retired teachers, I think RTA is the way to go. And you might even find like a Facebook page with retired teachers on it from the Rochester area. I wouldn't be surprised if one exists.
Maybe you and I could talk offline, because those are really great ideas.
Sure.
But in terms of, I hear your point about older people coming into the building, but they still have to go through the process. So even if we start now, it'll take a while to get them vetted anyway. And then they'll be ready.
Yeah. So I'll put, I already put it directly to Lee, but I'll put it to everyone, my contact information, and I'll put it in the chat, and then you'll have it so that you can reach me.
I have your information already.
Okay, perfect.
I just didn't realize that was you. Well, actually, before I saw your face, I thought you were actually Principal Silas Lee coming on. So, but anyway.
Sorry, no. No. But it has been a long day.
Yeah, she gave me your information already. Okay. It has been a long day. And I know everybody's busy, so I wanna wrap up. There's only a couple more things. One, I can talk offline. The communication piece, I can talk with you, John, offline. I just wanted to talk about, what you're gonna do, what you need me to do, that kind of, so you're not sending out an agenda and I'm sending out one later, and then you gotta regroup and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to work that out with you, but we can work that offline.
Very good.
Someone was gonna talk to Karen about the 19th Ward Conference. Can we table that? Or do we have time to table that?
Charlotte was going to talk to her, and I think she did so, and I think they're favorably hearing it.
They are?
I don't know that it's definitive, but they like the idea.
Okay, awesome. I'll talk to Charlotte offline. And then the spelling bee.
We have submitted, Ruth in the office submitted our budget, which is actually a little bit over 3,500. We had 1,500 left over from last year, so we asked the Rochester Area Community Foundation to give us $2,000, and we itemized how we would spend that. That was submitted by Ruth by email. I haven't heard back, but I trust John Lang used to do this, so this is a new process for me. But as far as I know, it's been submitted, and we'll find out whether we got it. I'm confident they've supported us the last 10 years, so I suppose it hopefully isn't too anxious.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay.
I'll be in touch with people in between now and the next meeting. Sarah, you didn't get to introduce yourself, but it's good to see your face. I see you smiling there. Okay, anybody else got anything that's burning that can't wait until next month?
Yeah, I do. Doug. I'm sorry. Doug, is that the 19th Ward spelling bee?
Yes.
Okay, so as soon as you guys have dates for that, the earlier we know, the better. And make sure that I'm included on that communication, because if it goes straight to Miss Lee, it might not get to me right away. She's as efficient as she can be. She's wonderful. But I just want to make sure I'm on top of it, because it takes a lot of organization at the building level And we won last year, so we're gonna try to win.
We'll do our best. Thank you.
Go 19.
Principal Thomas, how is there anything we can do to help you find people for the walking school bus?
So I would say let us call the families to see what their needs are tomorrow. We're going to call every family. And my team of 12, we're going to break these phone numbers up and call every family. And then I will get back in touch with you via email
Okay.
to
that
figure
sounds
out the
good.
needs of the families. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank
All
you.
right. Take care.
Thank
Nice
you
to
all.
see a
Have a
good
wonderful
turnout.
evening.
All right.
Take
Bye,
care. Have a
everybody.
great opening, Melody.
Oh, you
And
too.
Joe.
And
Thank
Joe.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.